Okay, so happy holidays, sister cousins. Let's talk about Wicked, girl. I finally got to see the movie after a month after its release. Don't judge. So we open up the scene, girl. The Wicked Witch of the West has gone to glory, honey. Hallelujah. All right. So she's gone. She out of here, right? She done kicked the bucket, literally. And girl, Glinda is like, girl, yeah, girl, she did. She's talking to the Munchkins, and they all celebrating and stuff. And so then this girl pop out the crowd like, girl, when y'all friends? And so she was like, I mean, I knew her a little bit, but you know. So girl, what ends up happening is she tells the story. Like, so yeah, I knew her. So basically how it started was, girl, she had a governor father, and the mama was piddling and peddling that poom poom, you know. And she ended up pregnant, girl, and she was drinking some like elixir liquid, green liquid. And long story long, girl, the baby ended up coming out green, same color green as the elixir, right? So on delivery day, the father is all excited until he see this green baby. He was like, whose baby is this? Okay? Because what? The baby comes out green. The baby's crying. And the father is completely like, get this baby out of here, right? So then the baby ended up doing some like, you know, witchcraft and wizardry out the womb, okay? So we could already tell that this girl's going to be powerful, okay? So then we skip to like when she was a little girl. Now we got this little sister. She's in a wheelchair. Kids is teasing her. Big sis is not having it, and she's showing, you know, they're showing more of her powers, right? And so the father's still not feeling the green daughter. Her name is Elphaba. She's not feeling Elphaba. Now we're seeing that there's no mother present, so I'm assuming that the mother has passed on. And so what ends up happening is, girl, the little sis, now she's going to school, and I'm not sure if it's like college or if it's like high school. I'm just gonna say college. So now she's going to college, and then we get introduced to Miss Glinda as a young person, right? Or a younger person. So she is a arrogant, entitled, spoiled, talentless hag. Long story long, okay? And everybody kind of fawns over her. Everybody wants to be around her because she's so popular. She's so pretty. Elphaba was just there to drop off, you know, little sis. And so Glinda has an exchange with Elphaba. It doesn't go very well. So it's like, ooh, girl, I don't like you. Ooh, girl, I don't like you either. That was the end of that. Then the father was like, well, keep an eye on little sis until she gets settled in and you can come home. You can still tell that he just resents this girl. You know what I'm saying? He dotes over that daughter, the little daughter, the little sister. And so he gives he gives the daughter in the wheelchair some like sparkly shoes that the mother owned. And he's like, you know, you deserve this, that, and the third. And once again, you could tell that he just favors the younger daughter and not the elder daughter. And I feel like he could probably tell that that baby don't belong to him. Anyway, so then some kind of exchange ends up happening. Elphaba ends up showing off her magical gift, and the head mistress ends up taking notice or interest into Elphaba. And now little sis is like, dang girl, like Marsha, every time we go somewhere you always gotta show your ass, okay? So now she's a part of the school too. She ends up rooming with Glinda, and there's this little like rivalry going on because, you know, they ain't feeling each other. You got one that's socially awkward, you got the other one that's super popular. They don't mesh very well. Anyway, so then we get introduced to this GOAT professor, you know, person, right? And the GOAT was like, girl, yeah, I'm one of the last few animal professors, or the last animal professor at this school, because they are trying to move us out of the picture and treat us like animals, right? There's an undertone message, obviously, right? And so then, girl, he's like, yeah, so this is what happens. He's showing them like little slides and everything. And then he flips the chalkboard over. It's saying animals should be seen and not hurt. So then fast forward, they have like a little exchange, and she ends up running into him again. She ends up overhearing them talk about like how they gonna try to either fight the power or run away and try to make lives for themselves before they end up getting extinct, and nobody teaches them how to speak anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to treat animals like animals, no voice at all, right? So, girl, so then we run into this prince while she was headed back to school, and the prince is like this arrogant, like full of himself, and she could pick that up off of him, and she's like, you know, I ain't really feeling you like that, but you know, enjoy your night. So then the next day he shows up to the school, and of course Miss Glinda gets wind that, you know, he is at the school, and of course she wants to be seen, honey. So she decides to be seen, right? So all the while, the headmistress has been trying to teach Elphaba how to control her gift, right? So she's trying to teach her how to control her gift, and Glinda notices that, you know, this teacher is taking an interest, and she wants to be a part of that so bad, but the teacher's not feeling her. She's like, girl, I know you talentless, and I ain't got time for it, okay? Somebody here is special. It ain't you. So anyway, what ends up happening? So then, girl, it's a party that's getting ready to happen, right? And this nerdy guy, who I'm sure will be important at some part of the story, but he's also from Munchkin Land, and he's like, oh, Glinda, can I take you to the dance? She was like, girl, she curved him and ended up sending him over to little sis with the wheelchair, right? And so she tried to dress it up like, you know, for you really like me, you know, take her to the dance because, you know, she's cute, girl, whatever. And so the little sis took it as an act of kindness and told Elphaba, like, girl, you know, Glinda's not that bad. She put me on a little date. You know, she set me up on a cute little date. You know what I'm saying? Be nice. And so Glinda was like, all right. What ended up happening? Oh, girl. So they was getting dressed for the party, and they had this little black cat and black hat. They was like, oh, I wouldn't even, you know, I would never wear this. I wouldn't put this on my worst enemy. And so Glinda was like, girl, well, I'm going to give it to you know who. And so she ends up giving it to Elphaba. Elphaba shows up to the party. You know, everybody thinks she look a mess. And Elphaba is obviously like the center of attention because every time she come around, people freeze. And they was all whispering and, you know, doing all the things. And then she tried to do this like artsy, like awkward dance, and everybody was kind of like, you know, laughing at her. And so then before that happened, the headmistress showed up to gift Glinda with a wand per Elphaba's request, because she was like, girl, because she was nice to me, I'm gonna be nice to her and do her a little solid, you know what I'm saying? So then she felt bad, like, dang, I did kind of like give her this hat, and everybody's like laughing at her because she look a fool. And now she's looking a damn fool because now she's doing this weird dance and everybody's looking at her crazy. So then she tries to break the ice and join in on this dance. So then now they're best friends, okay? Long story long, I said too much. So now they're besties. They run around trying to, you know, she's trying to help out, you know, Elphaba with her awkwardness. And girl, we get to class, right? And the professor's getting ready to teach. And then they apprehend him and take him off. I don't know where they took him. Yeah? Hi.
Hi. How your video doing?
It's good. It's almost done. Okay, so we don't know what happened to the professor, right? So they take him, then they bring this new teacher in. So then the new teacher comes in, and he starts immediately trying to push this agenda of like how animals are not equals, right? Then Elphaba was like, girl, this is not right. Like, what is happening? So the prince guy was like, well, you right, this ain't right. So then somehow she ended up using the poppies, the flowers, and it ends up putting everybody to sleep, right? I don't know if she did it on purpose, but we just gonna assume she did it on purpose. So girl, she ends up using the poppies to put everybody to sleep. And then everybody ended up asleep except for the prince. So then they take the little kitten that was a part of the class. They get him out of the cage and rescue him, okay? So then they run off into the abyss. And they're like, okay, what we gonna do? Because they are trying to like really do this with these animals, right? So they kind of leave it at that. So then Elphaba comes back and she's like, girl, what happened? Oh, So Elphaba comes back and she tells the headmistress, like, girl, they are trying to take these animals, and what we gonna do, girl? So then she was like, well, girl, I'll write to Oz. So she writes to Oz, and she's like, Oz wrote me back, girl. He want to meet you, honey, because, girl, you are really doing it out here, right? So then, girl, Oz writes back, and so he was like, what? So what ends up happening is, so Oz comes and writes back, and he invites Elphaba down to the land of Oz, right? It's supposed to be just her, right? But then somehow Glinda ended up tagging along, girl. So they get down to headquarters, and they find out that Oz ain't this big, powerful, force or whatever. Great. We all knew that. Well, kind of, right? We're still assumed that we didn't know, but they didn't know. But we knew. But now, girl, they get down there and find out he's just one person. And he's not as powerful or as massive as they thought he was, right? So then he was like, well, girl, I'm sorry. Like, I just had to put on this little facade because that's what everybody expects from me. So, what I forgot to say was, so what I forgot to say was, once they had that little situation happen with the goat and everything, it affected the prince. And he was like, girl, I don't like how this is going. Like, he's starting to, like, come up out of that, facade that he's been playing this whole time. And so Glinda's clocking it, and she's not liking the change, but she's like, it's okay because I like him, he cute, he look good, whatever, right? So now, back to Oz. So, Mr. Oz, right, he's giving me that there's some type of closeness that we don't know about, right? I'm thinking that's that girl's daddy, right? But I don't know. I could be wrong, okay? We got to wait for the other ones to come out before we, make the decision. Because it did say in the beginning of the movie, this is part 1, right? But I think that's her daddy. Because we never saw the face of the man that was piddling with her mother, right? So, girl, we get to back to Oz, and Oz was like, okay, so let me show you my blueprint. So he has this blueprint of Oz, all these roads that lead back to Oz, and he's like, well, what color should I choose for Oz, the roads for Oz, right? And so they switching colors, and then they think that yellow looks cute. So now we got yellow roads. So that's how we get the yellow brick road. Isn't that cute? So anyway, so girl, we end up getting to the nitty gritty, girl. The headmistress pops up like, girl, I wouldn't miss this night for the world. And Glinda is like, hi, professor, whatever, or, headmistress, whatever. And she's like, oh, you're here. I'm surprised. So, girl, you just can tell that she just does not fool with Glinda, okay? She is like, girl, you are a talentless hagg. I don't understand why you are in my face. Like, why every time I turn around, you somewhere in the picture. So anyway, girl, so they get to this, like, ancient book, and they're like, okay, let's see if she can make out whatever the writings in the book is. Comes to find out, girl, Elphaba can read the whole thing. And she starts speaking in this odd tongue from the scrolls or from the book. And she ends up making the monkeys grow wings, right? And so now Oz and headmistress is like, ooh, now we can send spies to spy on the other animals. Girl, come to find out that this is all a scheme that Ty set up to come to us with the bullshit, right? So I'm like, wow, this whole time they was conspiring against the animals. And poor Elphaba was like, girl, this is not what I signed up for. I thought you was like a good guy. He's like, I mean, I am, but, we're people and they're not. So there's that. So I'm like, girl, like, what are we supposed to do with this information? So then they're like, okay, well, what you gonna do? Is you in or is you out? Because, girl, we need a decision right now, right? It's one of those things, like, once you reveal your master plan, it's either you gotta be with it or I'm gonna have to take you out, right? And Elphaba was like, girl, I ain't going laying down either. So she runs, and now the head mistress is turning everybody against her. So now we off to the races. And Glinda is behind her because she's like, girl, you was my friend. Like, what are we about to do? And they get stuck in this room, and they're deciding, like, shoot a dribble, girl. Like, what is it? Are you my friend? Are we going to run off into the sunset and try to save the animals? Or are you going to participate in this BS? Okay. And so Glinda was like, girl, I am here for a good time, not a long time. Like, I was just here to have fun. I didn't say I was signing up for all of this. And it was no hard feelings. It was no backstabbing. So we haven't gotten to like the backstabbing. But once they broke into the room, girl, we done figured out how to make a broom fly. And so now Miss Mamas is off to the winds, girl, flying on a broomstick, okay? And Glinda is left behind at the time, apprehended, but then you could see them let her go, and then the head mistress now found a perfect pawn to use to, I think, turn against Miss Elphaba, right? So now, girl, now we're here, and here we are. Now we are left on a cliffhanger. And that's it, girl. Like, that's the end. Like, girl, I don't know. I just don't know. But I guess I'll call y'all back later. Bye.